Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Hummel, the Tier 6 German SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Abbey, and it's under the command of talon1958. And yes, he's in another contest with Angelina. She won the contest last week and enjoyed a very nice lie-in. Game on. Well, in actual fact, last week, Talon let Angelina win because although he had better scores, Angelina had a really good game, and as a result of that, Talon decided to give away the weekend, and he's now aiming at the enemies, looking at the road leading up to the Abbey, the monastery, and up comes an enemy light. Oh! What a shot! Right onto the turret roof of that super chappy. Ended his game with just one round. Absolutely fantastic. He got 406 hit points, so definitely a penetrating round, no doubt about that. This Arty is a 15cm. It's the same gun on the Gorilla. Does 480 alpha, penetrates 38mm of armor, and it's got a standard reload time of 25.31 seconds. And the position that Talon's using up near that little house, the house often used for TDs, is actually really working well with the stock gun, because of course it's a shorter range gun, which makes it more difficult to get hits on the enemy. Rounds out the M6, direct hit right on top of his roof. He's getting stun assist off these shots as well, and that's making a big deal, a big difference. Here comes the T1 Heavy. He's trying to get into the Abbey grounds. I think he wants revenge on the two tanks that we've got up there. I'm not so sure that T1 Heavy's made a good decision, because he's now having to attack a T20 and a T52 at the same time. Meanwhile, Talon is going after an IKV-65 too on the west side of the map. Line it up. That looks good. And the IKV falls back just in time to avoid the shell. That wouldn't have happened in the past. The IKV would have just sat there and he would have taken the shot, and that would have meant more damage for Talon. I think it's basically a cheat that Wargaming have allowed the enemy tanks to get warning that an enemy shell is on the way in. Of course, it's their way of allowing enemy tanks to say, look, Arty's going to fire soon, get out the way. Just missed the BK, but he did get stun assist. Oh, he selected a difficult shot there. He's firing through the gap at that T29. The team are doing absolutely incredible. It's at 8-0 at the moment. The enemy team hasn't got a single kill in this game so far. That T1 Heavy didn't last very long inside the Abbey grounds. He got absolutely turned into a sieve. Okay, Talon's trying to hit the T29. No, shell went long. Okay, KV-1, that looks a good target. Styling in, only a few seconds to go. He's changed his mind again, and now he's going after a 720 M41. And he lines him up, rounds out. Oh, but he did get a nice amount of hit points off that one, 162. The KV-1's now gone into a position where it's very difficult to hit him. There's a partially obscured reticule, which normally means there's an obstruction in the way on one corner. And usually you hit those things. But the rest of the enemy are just so far north. And despite the fact that KV-1's just killed our KV-1, the nearest enemy tanks now are the enemy Arty, the Hummel, and a bathtub, who are right up near the enemy cap area. And so Talon's having to motor north as fast as he can, and now there's only one enemy tank left. It's the S-35. I don't think we know where it is, actually. He was on the corner of the map up near the cap area. Okay, we now see him. He's scrolling out again. Lots of scrolling. Rounds out in the S-35, and before our shell arrives, he's killed. And that's the end of the first game, 15-1. Here's the end of battle stats for the first game, and it's a third-class tank of a Talon 1958 in the Hummel. He managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10 in this one, but he didn't get any other medals, and his win rate was only 1,229. But mostly that was down to the fact that this was a very fast battle. The enemy was literally jumped all over by our team, and Talon really didn't get much of a chance to get some shots off. He did actually have a very promising opening position to actually start hitting the enemy, and of course he got that early kill on the Super Chappie, who just drove straight as if he was trying to seize the Abbey, the monastery in the center of the map, but it was a bit of a mistake for him to drive straight in that direction, because of course Talon just lined the shot up and it went straight through his armor and he was out of the game very quickly. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he didn't get much in the way of damage. The highest damage in the game was actually earned by a T-52, which, you believe it, a light tank got a tank sniper medal for 2,201 hit points of damage. So that's not 20% of the enemy hit pool, but it was a very high score nonetheless. The second highest damage went to the T-3485M with 1,361, and the third highest damage went to the T-20, who got 1,205. When it came to kills, it was the T-52 who did the best with 3 kills. So did the M2Y. We've got the T-3485M getting 2 kills, the T-20 getting 2 kills, and Talon is in joint third place, along with the only member of the enemy team who managed to get a kill, which was their KV-1. It would have been a complete wipeout if he hadn't have got a kill. But yes, Talon only got the 1 and 783. When it came to base XP, he's a little higher up the table though. 1,195 base for the T-52, the only player to get over 1,000. 860 went to the T-3485M and 648 to the T-20. So yes, there's a big gap between the T-52 and the other players. So he must have been an exceptionally good player in the T-52. And Talon only got 567. Well, yes, he didn't get a lot of chance to get some damage off on the enemy. But it was a very bad day for the enemy. You can see that virtually everybody, only one player on their team got a kill. But there were 4 players on the enemy team got no damage whatsoever in that game. They were just completely, well, you might excuse that by saying that some of them might have been noobs. But yes, they were really, really hammered. Let's have a look at the detail. 9 shots fired, 2 direct hits, 1 penetration. I'm pretty sure that penetrating shot was the one on the Super Chappie. Yes, it was. 406 hit points with 1 shot. He was out the game just like that. In fact, it was a 1-shot kill. He also managed to get 4 splashes on the enemy as well. 783 hit points of damage, all of it done at more than 300 meters. Damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 1. 503 hit points of stun assist of 4 stuns. He earned 29,796 credits for the battle, got 50,000 for mission completion, 79,796 credits altogether, and after ammunition resupply took away 75,251 credits altogether. That's quite good for a starting battle with very, very little damage. 850 XP times 2 for the first victory, 1,701 experience points altogether. So a pretty good game to start off for the challenge. So he set the marker with a 3rd class and a bruiser. Let's have a quick look at the second battle and see how Talon gets on in that one. The second battle is in the GW Panther, the Tier 7 German SPG, with a 15cm howitzer, located on the northeast spawn of Glacier. This is an Arty that didn't actually exist. The Hummel did exist. Yes, there really were quite a lot of Hummels, over 700. There were no GW Panthers at all, but you have to think that they probably would have got around to building them if they'd had enough Panthers available as tanks. Okay, he's found a spot in the woods, and he's now aiming towards the gap near the carrier. The ramp to the carrier, I might say. We've got an AMX 12 ton going up there as quickly as he can. Does he take fire? I would expect so. But it looks like the enemy has not managed to get somebody into a position that they could intercept our AMX 12 ton, because he suffered nothing at all. But they're T-44-100 just took a direct hit from Talon for 240. Nice shot. Right on the money. It's a 15cm howitzer capable of doing 600 alpha, penetrating 39mm of armor, and it's got a 7-meter burst radius with a stun duration between 10 to 18 seconds. So 2 shots he's managed to get on that T-44-100, which is a very good premium medium. I mean, lots of people say that the T-54 first prototype and the T-44-100 both play very, very well. They're very similar in many ways, you might say. Decent damage, decent armor, quite fast. Well, that one landed a bit short, but he's still got some stun, and that means he got some stun assist just there after the second shell. There's 2 Arty on his team. His teammate is in the M44, whilst the enemy team have got an SU-8 and a GW Panther. Rounds out the T-28 prototype. Yes, good hit. Difficult shot because of the wreck there in the way. Okay, he's hunting around for a new target. Nothing in sight. Well, that enemy has just bit the dust. That's the T-28 prototype. There is another tank on the ring road at the moment. He's having a look round. I think he's using the old move using the mouse, which isn't quite as effective as using the control and then moving the mouse cursor over the mini-map and then clicking on where you want to watch. Rounds out very close to the SP1C. Very close indeed. That's better. Okay, now we haven't got a shot on the Type 58 because everything seems to be in the way, but he might be able to splash that SP1C and put him out of the game. Can he? No, he's got no shot. Red line. It's a pity about that. Oh, now we just saw the tracer from the enemy Arty. So we know where he is. He's actually on that little area that just behind their cap area. Oh, and that is a kill shot on the T-44-100. So the enemy just lost one of their good tanks, or it is one of their good tanks, but it's probably not being driven by somebody who knows what they're doing, and that's why they lost him. Okay, he's trying to get a bit closer, trying to scroll. The enemy's got a VK3001D, fairly close to us. He's decided to move position because he is very vulnerable from that spot if the enemy wants to push forward. And at the moment, there aren't that many tanks on the ring road trying to stop those guys moving forward. So he's trying to select a spot where he can actually be more effective against them if they do break through. It's difficult not to knock trees down in this area, but it's best to try and knock them down. Don't knock them down because it does give away your position. Okay, right, we've got a P43 now, 90mm gun. Let's see if we can put him out of the game. That's very well dialed in. The shell went to the right, but it was very well aimed, and it did settle on the target before he shot. So it was purely the RNG that worked against him on that occasion. Okay, we can't get a shot on that Type 58 because he's just around the corner. We can't see the P43 Tur anymore. He's going to try and move to a different position. We've got we have got the northwest corner of the map open to us now, so he could move over there. He's decided to get as far west as he can to get a better angle on those enemy tanks as they're coming around the road. You can see there's a lot of them there, and they are in a kind of bottleneck at the moment. He's trying to see, can he get a shot in there? Yes, he can. He can hit the Type 58 this time, and he's a one shot. Oh, lovely, direct hit, takes him out. So that's his second kill of the game. And it looks like that that other enemy, which was a P-43 Tur, died out of sympathy after his teammate died. And it certainly looked like that. We've got a bit of a problem now. One of the Panther SU-8s is actually on the enemy team. Has managed to get behind our Scorpion. So Talon's decided to move further south from where he is right now and follow his teammates round the map, because all of the tanks that were blocking his progress south have now died. We lost the Scorpion on the other side of the map. So some of our tanks, a Hellcat and 80, is it an 88 or an 87? It's an 88, have decided to go west, or at least block the passage of that Panther 07 if he tries to come round. In the meantime, Talon just relocating to help his team. He couldn't be effective from where he was anymore, so he decided to come over here. He was effective while he was there though, because of course he got the kill on that Type 58. Now he's going to try and hit that Dicker Max and see if he can take them out. Rounds out. Oh, very good hit. 259. He was killed immediately afterwards, so he got the stun assist off that one too. And look, yes, that Panther 07 decided to come around the corner, which was a bit of a mistake because he just met the 88. And right, we could get this kill. Rounds out. Yes! That was a really good one. Shows that if you dial in on the target before you shoot, it does have an effect. And there, yes, just as I said, that area behind the back of the cap area, the enemy Arty, the GW Panther, was sitting there. Talon's loaded. Rounds out. This should be a kill. Oh! Why did the shell go all the way over there? Talon wasn't aiming in that direction. Can't understand why that shell did what it did. Okay, so gonna have another go at the GW. Should be able to get it this time. Oh, and unfortunately, the M44 got there before him, and he's gone. The Hellcat is now facing an SU-8 and a Strib. It appears that our 88 is no more. He got wiped out, taken out of the game. So Talon's going to have to decide, does he actually just, well, he is actually moving to get behind that rock so he can shoot over the top of it at the enemy. That's better. Now, has he got a shot? Yes, he has, but it's going to be a difficult one. You're going to have to shoot underneath the arch. It's been done. The Hellcat's pulling back. That might encourage the enemy to come forward. I don't think that enemy SU-8 can shoot from where he is very effectively. He'll have to come forward, and if he does get spotted, then it's more than likely the Hellcat will try and take him out first. There's the M44 trying to slot the shell through the gap. We've almost capped out, and that's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second class tanker for Talon 1958, this time in the GW Panther. He managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 7, but he didn't get any other medals. His win rate from this one was higher. It was 1,990 this time, so it was an improvement. And this game took place only a short while after the last one, so it was almost sequential. And you can see he's actually improved his score from, it was a 3rd class and a Bruiser, now it's a 2nd class and a Bruiser, so he's up the ante on Angelina. If we look at the team scores, we can see the highest scorer in that game was that Panther 07, got taken out by Talon though, 2,127 hit points of damage by him. The second highest damage was our Scorpion G, 1,932, and the third highest damage was the AP AMX30, with 1,863. Talon managed to get 1,411, which is not bad actually, because it's better than all but 2 of the enemy team. When it came to kills, though, he was top dog on that one. Yep, 3 kills went to Talon, 2 kills went to the M44, the KV-1S on his own team, and also to the Camp Panther 07 and the Striv S1 on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, it's the AMX 1357 that managed to get the highest with 899. I presume that's because he was spotting. Yes, he did 1,552 spotting in that game. So he got quite a high score. But the second highest base XP in the game turned out to be Talon, and he got 755. And the third was the AP AMX 30. He fired 12 rounds in the game, 7 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations, but he did get 11 splash, 1,411 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 3, so couldn't get close enough to get the Confederate, but he did get kills instead of actually just wounding enemy tanks. 754 hit points of stun assist of 8 stuns. He earned 31,827 credits from this game, and after ammunition resupply took away 18,387 credits, 1,132 XP times 2 for the first victory, 2,266 for completing a mission, and 4,531 experience points altogether. So a very decent game on this one. He had much more to shoot at because his team weren't going all out to try and destroy the enemy as quickly as possible. In this one, that bottleneck on the ring road actually helped slow the game down a little, gave him a chance to get some hit points, and of course he did pick up some nice kills with direct hits. And I think that T-44-100 driver really does need to consider how he plays his tank, because it is a medium flanking tank. It's a fast moving tank, and yet he was playing it as if it was a TD, and I think that's probably why he got wiped out. He doesn't have enough experience as a medium tank driver to play his tank correctly, which is a pity, because that actually is quite a good tank. The Type 58, yes, the one that he took out with a direct hit again, that guy was playing it correctly, because he was actually trying to play it from the front, try and move fast as he could, but of course he got stuck behind the bottleneck, and he didn't try to then get around the bottleneck by outflanking it, and that's why he lost his tank in the end. Anyway, that's the end result for that battle. Let's have a look at the third replay. Here's the third replay, and this time Talon's in the SU-8, the Tier 6 Soviet SPG. He's located on the north spawn of Steppes, and battle's underway. Well, I like what Talon's doing here. He's changing from Arty to Arty, different Arties each time. It's good enough to actually use one and to keep repeating it until you hone your skills in an Arty, but sometimes changing your Arty actually does help improve your game by actually giving you slightly different characteristics to play with. Okay, right, well, he's decided to aim straight down at the enemy cap area and looking for a target. He's found one. He's just dialing in on that Lazar's Sherman. Is this Lazar's? Yes! Lazar's Sherman. It's he got a direct hit. That's one of the Shermans that was actually supplied to the Soviets by the Americans. Part of the Lend-Lease. Okay, one of the little light tanks, the T-52. Oh, what did you do there? That was a very silly move. He tried to go after our T-52, and unfortunately that shell was a bit snap, and that's why it didn't hit the target. Okay, we've got an AFK here. We might as well hit that, but whilst we're doing it, and our T-52 did die, but we know where that enemy tank is. Oh, he took his mark off. What I would recommend to Talon though is don't do that. If you see an AFK and he was being spotted by our T-52, mark the ground and keep marking the ground so you know where it is, and then just keep piling the shells in on that spot until it's gone. He's lost sight of where that AFK is now, so he can't kill it, but certainly I would mark the target and keep hitting it until it's out of the game. Rounds out, Panzer IV Schmaltern. That's the premium Panzer IV with the tough turret and the decent gun. He's not using his mouse to change views. He's actually scrolling his mouse to do it, which is a little less effective. I think he's had a few weeks off, and that's why he's gone back to his old practices. He splashes the Jackson. There's that T-52 again. Couple of tanks sitting at the corner here. Can probably put the round into the side of the Jagdpanther, but he's got to deal with that lip of the round, and he did it. He managed to get the round to go over the lip into the enemy tanks below, and he's picked up some stun assists as well of that BK. Okay, go for the Jackson, let it settle. That's it, rounds out, looks good. Lands just in front of him, but it does get a critical hit off the tracks. Now, can he actually get it over the lip again? He should be able to. Rounds out. Okay, decided to change position after a couple of shots. I don't blame him for doing that. Okay, the reload time for this Arty is normally 19.65 seconds. And oh, that T-52, that's the one he was firing at earlier. Going for a shotgun, and he gets it. Nicely done. That tells that light tank who's boss. Now stay behind the rock just momentarily until you've gone unspotted, then you can move. The enemy knows where you are now. The enemy are being pushed back on the west side of the map. It's on the east side of the map that we really need to focus at the moment. And he's aiming for where those tanks are. It's a difficult shot getting it over the lip. Rounds out. No, he didn't get it over this time. Okay, it might be a good idea for him to start shooting to the south, though, to try and help his teammates, because we were doing well, but now it appears so we're not doing so well on that corner, because there are a couple of blocking tanks that are stopping us from moving. So he's going to go behind the railway line and shoot south, hopefully. Okay, this looks good. Again, he's scrolling the mouse, not actually using the little technique with the control button. Hold down your control key and then move the cursor over the minimap to where you want to look, and then right click on the mini mouse. The mouse, and that will take you to the spot you want to look at straight away. It saves time having to scroll out all the time. You can always use scrolling for fine adjustment, but it's much easier to use the mouse technique, and he's still doing the other way. I think he's actually probably been away from the keyboard for a little while, and he's got used to doing it the old way again. Now the team are pushing on the east side of the map. Okay, let's see if he can get around in the far side. Okay, there's that Laws's M4. He's hit that one before. Okay, who's the blocking tank now? It's this one's the VK. Well, he stunned him at the very least. There's the M44 to our left. Our teammates. He is relocating quite a bit in this map. Haven't seen any enemy shells coming in his direction, but then he was spotted by the T-52. Now, can he get this one on target? He's letting it settle first before he shoots. That's what you should do. Rounds out. Oh! He was robbed there. That should have hit the target. It was dialed in perfectly, and yet the shell fell short. Well short of the target. Well, the enemy's been pushed out to the east side now, and it looks like that Chi-2 is still there. We know where he is on the mini-map, but ideally what I do is I dial in on target and mark the ground and just keep hitting the mark point on the ground. He's decided to go down the east side. The scores are still even. The enemy has broken through on the west side. Just goes to show our team weren't doing as well as I thought they were on the west side. The blocking tanks were stopped holding them up. Okay, now, was that the Chi-2 that we fired at earlier? Yes, it was. And he's now active. Rounds out. No, hit the ridge line. And the Chi-2 just got struck there. And he's moved. Oh, he moved just after we shot. We saw he came back into view. But it was a perfectly reasonable guess to say that he was probably still there. Now you get 26 rounds in the SU-8. That's plenty of ammo. But it is possible to run out if you are firing non-stop at the enemy. The good news, though, is because the team have done very, very well and actually moved right the way down the east side of the map, now he's actually got a different angle on the enemy altogether. Our M4A1 FL10, the one with the French turret, is holding up the enemy in this corner of the map. We've got no sight of them, though. That's the problem. Can only guess where they are. I'm hoping this T-3485 who's moving south on the west side is going to go and have a quick look and find out where the enemy targets are so we can shoot at them. They've still got 6 tanks out there. It was more of a guess to see if there was anybody at home. Ah, there's one of the Artys. Okay, we know where one of them is now because we can see the tracer. Rounds out. This should hit. He's very well concealed in the trees. Even after he fired, we couldn't still see him at all. Our teammates weren't close enough to get a sighting. Okay, give it another try. He's decided not to do so. He's actually got sight of an enemy tank. It's a T-29. He's letting the dial in. Letting the aim dial in, Robert. Oh, and just before he was fully settled, he pulled away because he saw a Burt, the FB304. He fired, well, wasn't quite snap. He was trying to get an estimated shot. Trying to get a leading shot on the target. Didn't quite pull off on that occasion. He's going to try and give it another go. Nope, went long. This is turning out to be quite a long game. And we just lost our Panzer via Smalton. There's the Arty that was in the bushes. It's an M44. And he keeps changing his mind about which target he's going to go for. That is what I call time wasting on target, because you keep saying, oh, I've got a better target here I can aim at. It's better to actually sometimes fix on the target. But he actually got 2 hits there by hitting the Burt and the CS-44 at the same time. So he proved me wrong on that, but he did select a better target. But generally I say try not to waste time, keep reselecting if you're umming and ahhing about the same which target you want to go for. Sometimes you end up not hitting anyone at all and missing out on getting damaged. The Burt is the last enemy alive. The rest of the tanks have managed to get most of them. The Burt just fired a shot and, oh, Talon would have been close, but the target was already dead. Well, in that battle, Talon managed to get a first-class tanker as well as a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11, and he got a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win rate was higher in this one, 2,512, which is better than the last time and is Unicum standard. You can see he did hit quite a lot of enemy tanks, but I think he did waste a little bit of time on when he was aiming, because of course he was using the mouse to scroll it out, and that takes extra time to do. It's much quicker to use. Just hit the control key, the left control key, hold it down, move the cursor over the minimap, and then right click on the mouse, and that will select where you want to look straight away. And so there was a bit of time wasted there, and there was also a bit of time where he kept reselecting and choosing a different target and then having to dial in on that target again. But he did come out of the battle with a good result. Let's have a look at the team score. Talon managed to get 1,648 hit points of damage, but that was actually the 5th highest damage in the game. The highest damage went to the T-29 on the enemy team. He got 2,372, but he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. The second highest damage was the T-29 on our team with 2,207, and the third highest damage went to the M4A1 FL10, who was doing a great job stopping the enemy. He got a Lever Slayer's medal in that game, and 1,984. And the fourth highest damage, well, that went to the FV304 on the enemy team with 1,923, with Talon picking up 1,648, so a little way behind. When it came to kills, it was the VK36018 who did the best with 5. Then came our M4A1 FL10 with 4. And then there's 2 kills held by the T-29 on our team and the T-29 on the enemy team, and their Burt, who also got 2. Talon only got the 1, but that did help him to get the Confederate. When it came to base XP, he's in 3rd place because the M4A1 FL10, who's lower tier, because of course this was a tier 7 game and he's tier 6, he got 1,135 base. The T-29 got 888 and Talon got 814, not far behind. Talon fired 22 rounds in this game, got 3 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetration. And that was of course the light tank, the T-52, that tried to sneak up the middle and get a kill on him, but failed in the end because of course Talon shotgunned him at close range. 13 splashes, 1,648 hit points of damage, of which 1,517 were at more than 300 meters, the difference being the T-52 at very close range. He received 2 hits from the enemy, both were penetrations, both came from the T-52, and he damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 1, so there's an 8 difference there. 655 hit points of stun assist off 13 stuns. He earned 38,469 credits for the battle, and after repair and ammunition resupply took away 19,543 credits profit, 30 bonds for mission completion, 1,221 XP for the game, times 2 for the first victory, 2,442 experience points altogether. So yes, it is a better game, and he's upped the scores even more now. He's set a standard of a first class, a bruiser and a Confederate, and that's going to be difficult for Angelina to beat. Not only that, he also got the high win rate on that battle. I feel he might have actually scored much higher had he selected some of the targets that he was not going for, and of course that such as the tanks on the west side of the map who were blocking our guys from moving any further south, and they eventually did kill most of our guys who are actually on that side, and that's where the M4A1 actually came in and stopped them from moving up the west side of the map instead. So yes, he might have done better off on the west side of the map rather than hitting the east side, because he was having difficulty with the ridge lines on that side of the map. But I also feel that he was taking a long time to actually, as I said, reselect his targets, and that was costing him damage, because whilst you're not actually hitting the enemy, you're actually having to dial in on it as a new target altogether. But anyway, either way, he set a good score for Angelina to try and beat. So I hope you enjoyed those replays. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.